In its analytical report, the IMF and Ukraine identified the so-called beacons that the Ukrainian side must fulfill during the current year to receive full funding under a standby agreement. This SBA is an instrument that provides financial assistance in a time of extraordinary need.
Ukraine needs to have market access, Ukraine needs to have access to official financing to come through that period, and the precondition for all of that is the IMF program. Now, without the IMF program, we would be in a very dire situation.
Among the beacons identified, many stand out and receive considerable attention.
Strengthening revenue administration will be essential to help ensure fiscal sustainability, as well as to continue to improve governance and the business climate to attract investment, together also with continued efforts to tackle corruption and finally making a start with the sale of larger state-owned companies.
In its letter of intent, Ukraine set out programs with detailed timelines for achieving the requirements, from tackling high-level corruption.
By the end of April 2019, at least 35 anti-corruption judges will be appointed to the High Anti-Corruption Court. We expect the HACC to begin its operations by the end of June 2019.
To energy policies, including raising gas prices again for household use, a contentious and unpopular decision.
We revised the gas price adjustment mechanism to ensure that the wholesale price for gas supplied to households and for heating will be adjusted automatically, effective May 1st, 2019, to 80% of the base market price.
Overall, the IMF noted improvements in the Ukrainian government's handling of the country's economic situation, but they also coupled this equally with lackluster performance.
Efforts to create a more dynamic, open, and competitive economy have fallen short of expectations, and the economy still faces important challenges. Investment, particularly foreign direct investment, is held back by difficult business environment, while large numbers of workers seek job opportunities abroad as economic growth is too low for incomes to noticeably close the gap with regional peers. Reserves have recovered, but remain relatively low, while the economy is still vulnerable to shocks.
The IMF also had a guardedly optimistic outlook based on Ukraine fulfilling its objectives.
Spending has been increasing, but the 2019 budget aims at reverting this tendency by improving the targeting of social spending and limiting the increase in the wage bill. Despite remaining elevated thanks to fiscal discipline, the debt stock is on a declining trend.
But upcoming parliamentary elections, according to Veronica Movchan, an economics expert, leave much up in the air. She believes that a new parliament will be fragmented and not be able to create a stable coalition, which might mean they're less reformative.
So most likely the strategy should be that the parliament has to try to push and to adopt as many institutional changes before it's over. So this first half of the year, and then the next years it will be a time to implement.
On December 18th, the IMF Executive Board approved a new 14-month standby credit loan program, an SBA, for Ukraine worth a total of $3.9 billion. The program should include 3 tranches, including 2 for the amount of $2.6 billion by the end of this year.